I thought of a good intro that I might actually like work on for this episode. Every now and then, like I'll change up the intro when like I feel like with Michael Grayson, we talked about The Last Dragon, so I put in who's the master at the beginning.
Sure.
And well, that's a dead giveaway. You didn't listen to that one, John. So thanks for knowing what I was talking about there.
I did.
I'm sorry. No, it's fine. But I thought of one when I was sitting through this movie. You ready for this?
Sure.
Hey, yeah, I wanna hoop, baby. Hoop, baby.
I like the personalization.
Yeah, that's good.
For a second, I was like, it's shoe.
It's shoe.
And I was like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah,
that's not the lyric.
I'm aware.
Right.
Hey, yeah, I wanna shoot, baby. Shoot.
Ooh. How you doing, baby? No, not you. Here I go again, girls.
Yeah.
What's my weakness? Yeah. Okay, then chillin'.
Hello, John.
Is this for head of security?
What are you talking about? Why don't you flip the screen so I can watch, so I can see what they're talking about. All right.
Dustin's least favorite Marvel movie.
Is it really Iron Man 3?
Assume.
We can assume.
Yeah, he hated that.
And here I was going like, I kept talking about how much I liked it, and he's just like, try not to overtly like argue with me about it.
Right.
All right, well,
I still need to sing you the Whooper song.
Yeah, I need the Whooper song. I need the Hoopa drop. I need all of that stuff to throw in. Just turn this more into a morning zoo radio show instead of a quasi reputable podcast.
The Hanna-Barbera soundtrack's going.
And Scooby-Doo too.
And Scooby-Doo.
All right, nobody knows what we're talking about. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the HooperCast. This is episode 116 or so. I cannot wait until I stop labeling the episodes in the intro, because that will mean that we did so many that I don't care, or I don't like. I want to get to the point where we're too cool to remember which one we're on, and then except when
Too cool for school.
Well, then I'll just label them, like for the titles for iTunes. But it'll just be assumed that some intern keeps track of all that. But me and Dustin are like too big to be bothered by, specifics like that shit. Hi, John. How are you?
I am excellent. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm trucking right along. It's a good old night. Dustin is still can't be here. He's I'm trying not to like. I'm making it sound so mysterious, like why he's not here, but it's not. I just don't want to like speak for him. I'm just gonna say Dustin has got a new hustle, and he's still trying to figure out his schedule and all that stuff. So Dustin's off making money, and paper trail. So John, John is back, and we're gonna talk some Deadpool. Because guess what? I went to the theaters this weekend, and I saw it. I know. I used the Fandango app. I bought the ticket. Me and my friend Sam went. Friend of the show, Sam. So yeah, we're going to talk about Deadpool today, and that's pretty much going to be it. What can we really say? Going into this movie, like the story of how this movie kind of came to be is probably just as interesting as the movie itself. Like there should be a documentary about the journey this movie took to get to the screen, because they wanted to do this for a while. This was like Ryan Reynolds' pet project or his passion project, and then they sort of, from what I understand they sort of poked in Deadpool into X-Men Origins to sort of test the waters with the character, I think that was the purpose for putting him in there. But
so good.
but Fox, mishandled the character. And I think I heard some interviews with Ryan Reynolds, and he says that when they told him all the stuff they were going to do with the characters, sewing his mouth shut, the lasers in the eyes, and the swords coming out of his arms, he was just like, "You're going to piss a lot of people off." And he was essentially told, like, "Yeah, whatever," and they just sort of did it. And so, and then I think it was right around when they were about to do Green Lantern that it was almost ready to be made. And but then they sort of put it on the back burner, and so he went off to do Green Lantern. But I think he said by the time Green Lantern was made, the movie was like written. It was like fully written, and it was like ready to go. And it just took a long time. And we've talked here and there about. I know I've mentioned at least like how much I like Ryan Reynolds, and how, for whatever reason, like how sad I think it is that he doesn't get more. I don't know. I don't know if he gets the exact amount of acclaim he deserves in Hollywood, but I feel like he ought to be doing better in the industry than he's been doing lately. So I always was just like, man, I really hope if they ever make this thing, it turns out to be good, because that would really help him out. And I think that he's capable of, good performances. And then I realized he's in kind of a weird little niche category. Like, you think like Ryan Reynolds has got everything you want. He's funny. He's a good actor. He's handsome and he's funny. But what that really puts him as is he can only be cast as a specific type of character, because you can't take him seriously in a fully dramatic role. He's too handsome to be like the best friend in a comedy. And he's you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't really fit in any one place.
Sure.
So when I heard that this movie was going to get made, and it was happening, and then the big haymaker was, this is going to be R-rated. And so I don't know how. I mean, I assume you felt the same way I did at the time, which was good, because that's the only way that fans will receive this film well.
Yeah.
Because yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I was glad that it was R-rated. I must admit, though, I wasn't really following this film until maybe a couple weeks before it actually came out.
I was following it.
I knew about the kind of production history of it, but it wasn't on my radar until recently.
See, I think I was detached from it because I was thinking, well, it's never going to happen, and I just didn't want to put energy into researching the character and then feeling the same feeling that everyone else felt, which was such a great character, and I didn't want to feel the pain of this will never be made into a movie. And so for me, it was like, okay, well, if it ever gets greenlit, then I'll sort of do my research. And then it did. So I started poking around and like reading about Deadpool and getting interested in it. And then I saw a bunch of clips from the video game they did a few years back. And I really liked that because you got to see essentially, at least in that version of the game, like he would talk in speech bubbles and he'd run on top of the speech bubbles to get like across a chasm, or he had multiple voices, or he would talk to the player. Or he made a phone call to Nolan North, who was voicing, asking him to do the voice for the Deadpool video game, and Nolan North's telling him to fuck off, and just stuff like that I thought was funny, and so I was like, okay, well that's that. I just felt like this could lend itself pretty well to a visual medium. And then that test. So before it got greenlit, there was that test footage that popped out where it was essentially the car scene, which someone speculated recently that the person who leaked that may have been Ryan Reynolds himself.
Right.
Like, and essentially in an attempt to get public approval behind the film to show Fox, like, there's an audience for this. Don't freak out. And I remember I really liked that footage. So I'm sorry I got such a big preamble. So now the movie's out. It's doing really well in theaters. Now the movie's doing really well.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Now the movie's doing really well. And rightly so, because I liked this movie. I don't know, you liked it too, right?
I did, yeah. It exceeded my expectations.
I don't think it quite exceeded mine. I don't know if I liked it as much as you probably did. But But let's talk about it. I mean, what did you think was the strongest element of this movie?
I think the strongest element was it was a superhero film, but it didn't have all the familiar kind of trappings of a superhero film. It went by really quick. It didn't feel drawn out, and it was fresh. It did maintain the humor throughout, but it was interesting enough to where the humor wasn't the only thing good about the movie.
Right.
It was just fun. I think that's the strongest thing about the movie was it was fun, and it didn't. The stakes weren't the world is going to blow up or what have you. I mean, it was a fairly small scale thing.
Yeah.
Which again is kind of only something that certain films in the MCU do, and Ant-Man recently was the same way. So, I like that about it. So,
I think there were people mentioning, like, think of, nowadays where movies like The Avengers and Captain America are like, 220 in length. Like, it was refreshing for a movie to be like, it was like an hour and 40 minutes. Like, it was pretty brisk. It was pretty brief for,
it went by pretty quick.
And so for an origin story, to basically, like this isn't going to be some. It was kind of nice. I thought I didn't know if I really liked the jumping around like time wise, but then I thought that's best because one of the things you hate in origin stories is seeing like 40 minutes of the movie where they're not even a superhero yet.
Right.
So it was kind of refreshing to have the movie open, and then like within the first 6 minutes of the film, there's this big action sequence with him as Deadpool. So that was good. I thought Ryan Reynolds obviously shined in this role. I feel like I hate saying this line, but. And I don't want to diminish his talent by saying it for this specific role, but I feel like Ryan Reynolds was born to play this role. I feel like this is obviously like, which is why people felt so strongly that he should be Deadpool and that the movie should be made, was because this character seems so perfectly suited to his sensibilities, like, and fits all that stuff. It's got the drama, it's got the humor, and it's got all like the physical stuff that you would expect of her. He's a tall, handsome, funny guy with dramatic chops as an actor. That's sort of the perfect skill set to specifically bring Deadpool to the screen and believably bring him to the screen.
Right.
One thing I'd like to talk about real quick, it's always tough talking about movies you like because it's tough to break down the elements of it. So I always feel like I'm skipping past that. But people, I don't know about your theater. In mine, there were lots of young kids.
Yeah, there were several in mine. Yep.
I saw a pack of what appeared to be about 5-year-old kids, if I'm going to guess right. And they're laughing at jokes, and I can tell they're just laughing because everyone else is, but they don't actually understand them. And I just shaking my head. I was like, oh man, like this isn't gonna bode well for society later on.
Right. The kids that I saw it with, I didn't see it with kids. That sounds. I'm sorry. The children that were in my theater seemed to enjoy the movie, though. The ones that stayed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've read some like angry comments from like not even parents. This is just like regular couples who are like offended by the movie. They're like, and what's sad is that this is what Marvel considers to pass for a superhero film. To them, this passes for entertainment. Like, one, this is tangentially related to Marvel because it's a Marvel property, but this is Fox. First of all, it's a Marvel character, but this is not a Marvel movie. Right. Second of all. It's rated R, bitch. It's rated R. It's right there on the poster. It's there when you buy the ticket. And any kids who didn't get carded going in this movie, this is one of those movies where, like, you want to make sure that kids are with a guardian or that they're of age because, there's a lot of, foul language, a lot of vulgar humor, and violence, and and some pretty explicit sex going on.
And full frontal with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, and someone told me about that beforehand, and then like I found myself like in that fight scene going like, "Is this where?" And so I was like looking. I was like, "Where is it? Where is his penis?" I was just like, "You just show me where it is." And then when you're finally like, "Oh, I guess that's what they meant here," it's like a sad part of the scene, and so it's just like, "Oh, I wish someone could just go like tuck that thing in for him. He's hurting bad enough right now." Like it, it's silhouetted. Like people,
right? Yeah.
Before you think you're going to see some straight up like Ryan Reynolds full frontal, it's like it's more like the vague shape of what he's got going on.
Sure.
While he's being gored by rebar, so it's not the kind of mood you want to be in when you're looking at a man's penis.
Yeah. That was a weird sentence.
Well, it's a strange world that we live in. And honestly, like the part, what's your least favorite part of this movie? Like, what could you have done with less of, do you think? And what could you have done with more of? Like, what did you not see enough of that you wanted, and what did you want to see less of?
I mean, I don't really have any complaints per se. I was apprehensive about seeing this because as a Marvel character, I'm not big on Deadpool. I've never been big on Deadpool because he seems he's almost an antithesis to what I like about Marvel.
Yeah,
and I don't like that the characters are self-aware, that they're in a comic book. I like the way that Marvel Comics usually presents their characters in a narrative that's somewhat serious, and you can have characters that joke around. And someone like Spider-Man, for instance. I mean, Spider-Man's a very funny character. He cracks jokes throughout the entire, run and things like that. I'm fine with that. But with Deadpool, it bothered me because it felt almost like an outsider coming in and doing a character for Marvel in a way. And it didn't align with the rest of the canon for me. So. But then when the marketing kind of kicked in for this, and I saw that like Colossus was going to be in the movie and all that, it got me more interested. So I went to go see it, and I think the biggest thing for me is that this film works as a standalone thing, and I guess it works in conjunction with the X-Men film universe. But something like this to me would never ever fit in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is relatively serious. It's you do have films and characters that are humorous. I'm thinking like Thor 1 and the Iron Man movies and things like that. But never to this extent. So I think one of the strongest things that the movie did was that it was its own thing, and it's not tied to some greater universe per se. Because I don't think the X-Men films are really strong on their own. This is my favorite X-Men film, if this counts as an X-Men film. So I'm glad that Marvel Studios does not own the film rights to this character, because I think that, I don't know, it wouldn't fit it within that universe. So I guess that's my only complaint, is that it feels very different than a Marvel movie. But then again, the Deadpool character was always so different. So that's a nitpick, I suppose. But I think, like I said, I really love the humor, and I like that it incorporated a lot of in-jokes about X-Men and the X-Men films, and of course you had Colossus, who I think was always kind of shortchanged in the X-Men films already. I think he was in one of them. I think he was in X3?
He was in two of them. He was in X2 for a little bit, too.
He was in two of them. I didn't even remember him then, because he was in it so little. I remember him getting in a fight in the X and in the mansion in one of the films. But yeah, I feel like he was represented pretty well here, and he was funny, and so it felt like a part of that universe, but that universe was never really strong to begin with, so it didn't muck it up or anything. So I think the humor was the strongest aspect of the movie to me. The fight scenes were good. I thought that the mask really worked. Unlike something like Green Lantern, it was really I don't know, it was easy to relate to. It felt like a person behind the mask, as opposed to some of these other movies where it just feels like a mask. You could see his eyes move. You could see almost see his expression under the mask as he said things. So that worked really well. Yeah, and I think the two guys who wrote this wrote Zombieland as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, I thought it was well written. It was snappy. And one of my concerns, too, was that how are you going to do a movie, an hour and a half long movie of this guy just cracking these jokes? I mean, eventually that's going to get old. But like you said, they do the jumps in time. And so the tone kind of jumps around, and you'll have dramatic moments and serious moments, and then it's kind of peppered with funny moments and vice versa. So the tone keeps jumping around in a good way to break up the tension and or comedy that's going on. So I think that was its, kind of biggest strength, I guess, was the way it incorporated comedy throughout the whole thing, but without overdoing it.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts. I mean, I think that I didn't really like Negasonic and Colossus really being a part of it, because I felt like, especially since they established right at the outset that he has a history with them already. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I like it in a way because we skip like the introductions and all that because we know who these people are. But I also don't really like this whole like, oh, they're just part of the group. But I didn't really like how we sort of just had them in there. And I liked that they portrayed Colossus what seems like correctly here, and for good and for good reason. But I really hate that they can't seem to nail down. But, one of the things he points out in the movie itself is that the timelines of the X-Men movies are so confusing. And the time, but not only the timelines, the casting, like, so I know that you can't unring the bell of casting what's his face as Colossus, like the American guy, who played him last. But like, it's just the characters themselves are so inconsistent, and with Storm changing her accent between movies, it's just the characters themselves are so inconsistent. Yeah. In the first X-Men movie, she has like an African accent. And then in the second, third movie, she just drops it. She's like, "Oh, well, I'm just going to talk like how it is."
It's been so long since I've seen those.
Yeah, if you go back and watch the first X-Men, she has like an accent. She's like Logan, like she talks like she's from so because Storm's from Africa, so she did that. And then the subsequent one, she was like, "Logan, hey, it's nice to have you back." It's just normal. You saw my boobs in Swordfish.
I was in the Flintstones.
So there's that. So, but that's not their fault. It's nobody's fault. That's just a nitpick I have with shared universe movies. Is if you're going to do it, do it like you do it right with Marvel. Like, try to keep all the same actors, and same visions for the character. And so there was that. I wanted to see more action sequences. Like, I was satisfied with what I did see, but I kind of wanted more. But then again, I think what we saw was sufficient, and that's something they can do more of in like the sequel. Perhaps is like have some newer set. Part of it was because I had basically seen one of them already because I saw the test footage. And they didn't really deviate much. And I do feel like I don't know if I really watched. I don't feel like I watched a lot of trailers for this, but I feel like I knew a lot of the jokes beforehand in the movie. And I sort of thought like some of them were like exactly what was in either test footage or this. I just felt like a lot of it hadn't been changed since a teaser had been shown, which they usually do like swap a line here and there, or they save some. And some of it was just exact. And I was like, oh, that's okay. I don't know. I guess, again, not really their fault, but it sort of did, I guess, impact my viewing of it.
Yeah. Like you said, with the action sequences, I realized afterwards, as we were getting toward the end of the film, it was like, there's only really been like the highway chase and the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
And the flashback sequence about how he became Deadpool, and that was it. And then you moved right into the climax on the whatever sort of ship that was. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the time that they kind of came up for the final battle or whatever, I was like, oh wow, this is
really just the third.
The end, I guess.
This is really just the third like scene in the movie.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
That takes place in like present day. So I guess that was bizarre too. But again, like I don't know. I also try to think, like, you know, when I come out of movies and I have this feeling about it where I can't really think of that much wrong, like, my reaction tends to be, it was okay. But then I think, like, I have to think to myself, like, well, what was missing? Like, nothing was really missing or done wrong. So what you're reacting to is a solid structure, and it just has to ruminate. And this is how I feel like I ought to feel when I come out of movies. I mean, I was satisfied. It wasn't a big sugar rush of like, oh, there's so many action scenes. And because I thought I'd come out of the movie kind of swimming on endorphins and then calm down later. And which would ultimately mean that the movie was only good for like the first hour or two after seeing it. And that's not the case with me. I mean, I think someone at work here told me, like, you're the only person I've heard say that, like, it wasn't amazing. And I'm like, it was good, but, like, we can't just go, but why do we have to, like, treat everything like it was the best thing ever and it's just going to go away in a few days? Like, you're not going to feel that way in a few days. I liked this movie enough to where I definitely want to see it again. I still can't decide if I'd want to own it. You know, but, I don't know. It was good. And,
I mean, for me, I didn't go in with expectations at all.
Yeah.
I think I'd maybe seen a trailer like once or twice. So for me, it was exceeded my expectations because I didn't really have many.
I think part of it was too, like, I was expecting a little bit of, like, not like Wanted or Watchmen, but I had seen other R-rated comic book films. And so I think I was expecting a tad more, like, darkness in it maybe. And I guess I was glad that wasn't in there. I think that's the only preconceived notion I brought into it was, like, I think I was expecting a little bit more. I don't know what it was, I guess, but it was good. I liked it. I thought T.J. Miller was pretty restrained, but good.
Yeah.
I
actually played a real person.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone that felt like a real person this time around, as opposed to a walking improv joke fest.
Yeah, and I liked Marina Baccarin.
Yeah, she was very good.
So that was cool. I thought the villain was kind of weak, but he was sufficient, you know.
The whole time the villain was on screen, I was like, I don't think that's Nicholas Hoult, but it looks.
Oh my god, dude, me too. Saying the same thing.
I was like, he already plays the Beast,
like Mad Max, Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, they should play brothers in a movie.
Oh my god, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is that Nicholas Hoult? Yeah. So
he's puffed up.
Now I don't know where they intend to take this franchise going forward. I know they've announced a sequel. I know that they are going to have cable, and but I don't know.
Which is going to be awesome.
I don't know what the interconnectedness with the X-Men is going to be going forward, and honestly, I hope there is none. I really do. I don't want him.
I hope it's as it was in this film or less.
Yeah, and I don't honestly, like, the only other person I like, part of me wants to see him interact with, like, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and then part of me is like, I don't really want, like, just because he referenced, you know, Hugh Jackman himself so much in the film.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of want to see them together, but then again, like, honestly, in passing, like, I'd like them to, like, be sitting on the same subway together, and then just, you know, and then just him get up and leave, and then.
Well, that's my issue with, like, the worlds colliding.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't fit into the Marvel Comics universe to me, is because I don't know how these two characters can exist in the same universe, and so it works with someone like Colossus because that character is essentially a blank slate in the movie universe.
Yeah,
because he's not a major character in the film. So
and there's no dramatic weight to him. Like, if you put him next to Wolverine, it's inconsistent with Wolverine being like this dark and brooding character who's got a lot of inner conflict. You can't all of a sudden have him have this comedic moment with Deadpool. It would feel out of, like, the tone would feel out of place.
Right.
Even in a Deadpool movie.
Yeah. So, and I will say this about Colossus too. Like, at the end, in the end battle, it was like, I don't know, just kind of like taken out of it. I feel like he was fighting, I forget her name.
Gina Carano.
Yeah, Gina Carano. I forget the character's name.
I never knew in the first place.
Was apparently very strong. We didn't find out until the very end. But obviously as strong, if not stronger than Colossus.
Well, they said that in the lab experiments that she has super strength.
My bad. But it was like, well, why isn't she the leader of this?
I know.
Group? It's like, obviously she could kill everyone. It's I don't know.
Yeah,
that was bizarre. It was like almost like we want to have Colossus in the movie, but he's obviously stronger than Deadpool and the villain, so we're gonna kind of pull him out of this battle by
having him fight another strong person.
It felt last minute to me,
Yeah, there are certain things like that I ultimately forgive, but I agree are sort of either lazy or just sort of like quick problem solvers. Like, what are we going to do with Colossus? How does he not dominate the battle? Well, we got to have a henchman for him to fight. It was just, there are things like that. But I enjoyed all the new stuff this film brought to the table. I'm excited for the franchise going forward. I believe this is the highest R-rated movie opening of all time, and the highest is something else. It's like the highest. I don't know. I can't remember. They broke some. It's breaking a lot of box office records just by nature of it being comic book and like R-rated. I'd recommend people to go see Deadpool if you haven't already. You probably have if you're listening to this. Everyone saw this thing. It was really fun, and I'd see it again.
I'd love to see him fight the Thing from the Fantastic Four universe.
Oh, why?
That would be dope. I feel like the Thing is one of those rare characters that could mix in with Deadpool, and it wouldn't be bizarre. Yeah, because the Thing's always kind of been a funny character too. He kind of has a lot of humor to him as well.
Maybe I'm just out of touch with.
I don't know
with what's going on with the Thing.
I'm not talking about the Thing in like the Josh Trank movie or something, but
even
in
like
the other Fantastic Four film, I mean, he was always kind of like a funny character, and he's like that in the comics, So I could see him kind of getting along with that. Not getting along, they would butt heads, I'm sure, but
I would hope.
I'd like to see that.
I would hope that, like we said, that he doesn't really mix in with other comic book characters going forward. Yeah, except for tangentially certain X-Men, but
I think the Fantastic Four is probably done for a while. I wouldn't expect the Thing to show up in any of these movies. But.
I would want them to bring to the screen Marvel villains that haven't been put on screen yet to face Deadpool. That would be the best use of their time,
I've heard Taskmaster was originally supposed to be one of the villains.
See, I don't even know who that is.
Oh, and they couldn't use him for... I forget what the reason was.
All right, well, I guess that's going to do it for that review. John, I know you got to go.
I do.
So, thanks for being part of the show, man.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, well, this will be goodbye, and I'll talk to you later.
Oakley dokley.
All right, homie. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, well, there went John. So that was a good little review of Deadpool. So, yeah, if you're going to go see Deadpool, you probably want to use Fandango to buy those tickets, because that's what I did. I skipped the line. They scanned the QR code on my phone. I just went right on in. This isn't even a paid advertisement. I'm just telling you how convenient it was, because there's no real reason not to use it, because it was super convenient. And then when Sam was waiting in line to buy his ticket, I just had him punch in his information onto my phone, and then he bought it through Fandango, and we scanned the phone again, and then we both went in. It was cool. So yeah, that was Deadpool. I'd like to talk real quick about what is in theaters right now. There's this movie Risen that Dustin talked about. I can't remember much about it. But he talked about it in our look ahead to 2016. And, so again, I don't remember quite what was said, but I think that, I remember when he was talking about that, I thought that it was worth seeing. So, I hate to tell you like a blind recommendation like that, but, there's that. And honestly, there's not much else. What is this? Who's in this? Race. It's a Jesse Owens movie. Okay, that's interesting. That's pretty cool. Man, there's not really anything out. So, okay, well, that's more money for Deadpool and Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, enjoy that money. While you're enjoying that time at the box office, why don't you hop on over to Letterboxd, which is a social network for film lovers that lets you track, rate, and review the films you watch, follow other members to get recommendations, publish lists of films, and plenty more. Listeners of our show have the chance to win a 1-year free pro account upgrade or extension on Letterboxd. which is valuable because Letterboxd is free to use, but the Pro account provides additional features such as a customized summary of your past year's viewing. If you want to enter, email us at HooperCast@gmail.com, HooperCast@gmail.com for your chance to win. Just type Paul in the subject line, Paul, like Paul McCartney, or Paul Walker, or Paul Rudd, or Paul Stanley. You know, Paul is the code word for February. And just enter that in the subject line. And then in the email, give us your Letterboxd username so we know who to potentially award this free upgrade to. It's good for us because it exposes you guys to our show, and we're always trying to grow our listener base. And it's good for you because it's getting you guys access to premium content on Letterboxd, which is a great service. We use Letterboxd, although I have not updated it in a while. I apologize. I'm going to do that. But it's a real great community. If you just want to know what other people think about films, you get good insights into films. You read other people's reviews, kind of get some deeper, insight into maybe why they like to film. Maybe you learn more about what you like in films based on other people's reviews. And it's peer reviews too, so you can hook up with friends on Letterboxd based on the movies, or make new ones on Letterboxd based on the movies that you mutually like. And no one's bitching about politics or Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and stuff. You know, it's all movies, baby. Anyway, we will select the winner at the end of February. There's still time left to get in on this. So, got some emails coming in already. So we got to have some more come in, hopefully, and get ourselves a bigger pool of people to choose from. But, if you want to be part of that potential pool of winners, then hop on over to your email and send us that info so we can upgrade you. All right. Well, that's going to be the show this week. I'm not sure what's going on next week. I guess I'll probably have some TV stuff to talk about. What I'm kind of doing with TV right now is I'm trying to catch up on The Americans before it comes back. I'm in the middle of season 2. I got to get through that, season 3, and then hop on and get ready for season 4, which I think drops like in maybe 2 or 3 weeks on FX. Watching a ton of shows right now. Better Call Saul is back, so I'm back on that. So is Dustin. I'm watching Agent Carter. That's about to be done if it's not done already. A couple episodes behind on that, and also on The Muppets. And the rest of it's just tangentially related stuff that you'll hear about later. Anyway, thank you guys for listening this week. Thanks for tuning in or downloading the podcast and all that. Remember, we are on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. And you can also find us on Facebook. We're on iTunes, just search HooperCast, or the Stitcher app, just stitcher.com/podcast/HooperCast. Well, that's a kind of a feed, but HooperCast on Stitcher, and HooperCastPod.podbean.com on Podbean. And for Facebook, Facebook.com/HooperCast, at HooperCast on Twitter, HooperCastPod.tumblr.com on Blogger, HooperCastPod.blogspot.com. For Blogger, Tumblr's for Tumblr, Blogspot's for Blogger, and then hoopercast@gmail.com for the email. Some of those things are not updated on the episodes, so if you really want to get these episodes first run, you got to do Podbean, Stitcher, or iTunes. That's the best way to keep up with this show. Thank y'all for listening. Have a good weekend. Go out and see some movies. Write us, some comments. Let us know what you thought about Deadpool. I'm sure you all liked it. But yeah, if you saw any good movies that you want to share with us that maybe you want to recommend to us, like we want to recommend movies to you guys, but if you want to recommend good movies to us that maybe we haven't been exposed to or would not otherwise be exposed to, send us an email, and why don't you broaden our horizons and, keep an open mind of the stuff we recommend to you, but we want to keep an open mind so we can accept recommendations from our listeners as well. So this is all about sharing good movies and talking about good movies with each other. And it is a two-way street. It's not just me. Even though I'm in a booth by myself right now, surrounded by foam pyramids and sweating my balls off in here, I want you to know that this is not just me dictating to you. I want to know what you guys think too. I'd like recommendations. I want to feel friendship and connectivity. So let me know what you think as well. Anyway, thanks for listening. See you guys next week. Later.